This is the Blackout Podcast.
Welcome to the Blackout Podcast, where I talk to amazing people doing amazing things. I try to get to learn their creative process, deconstruct it, and, well, steal a little bit out of it. And today I'm super stoked to have someone I'm happy to meet in person finally.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So, Shea, thanks for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
All right. I guess, should I just start at the top here?
At the top.
I've been an artist for about 10 years. I know I look a little younger. But yeah, I've been an artist for about 10 years. I work in hip-hop, R&B, and soul. And I'm also, more recently, the founder of the Northern Touch Music Festival, which is in its third year. We basically created spaces for underserved music genres, typically hip-hop, R&B, and soul. Afrobeat, reggae, all those types of genres of music. And then by extension, we're helping out the communities of people that create that.
I remember checking out the Northern Touch. So my friend Epidemic was on the show and he played then, I checked it out and the list was great. And not just the people performing, but the people coming in to talk.
Yeah, so that's a big thing for us. Basically, being an artist for like 10 years, I was going to a lot of the other showcase festivals across Canada. And again, just the infrastructure was not there to bring in certain people. So what I wanted to do was create that space and really focus on building a showcase festival that isn't exclusive. So any genre, and actually there's a band from Winnipeg that ended up meeting somebody that they did business with, and they were outside of kind of the hip hop, R&B, and soul, or the typical. I mean, they were pretty soulful bands. So to me, like, that's why they got selected. They ended up doing some work. So generally speaking, it's very inclusive to all genres, but we really wanted to make sure that we were representing the business of hip hop, R&B, and soul. So.
And so what are some of the names you brought in so far?
Last year's headliners was an amazing artist, Dayburger, from New York. Shout out Dayburger. And Murs came through, which is obviously super. I've been super fan of Murs for a long time. He created the Paid Dues Festival. He's got a show on Hip Hop DX called The Breakdown, where much like this, where he has cultural conversations, and really stirs the pot with a lot of stuff, which is great. He's like a hip hop archivist, which I love. Like, I love guys that you can talk about this stuff about, and they just know everything. It's amazing. So Murs came out. We also had Toki Wright, and his partner came out and DJ Miss Brit, and that was last year.
Yeah, man, and it's great. And so, how did your journey into hip hop begin?
That's kind of funny. I started. The first tape I got, we're going to get dated here a little bit. The first hip hop tape that I really got, or the first set of tapes that I got, was like, because I grew up in Winnipeg, so it's typically like white rock sort of. That's the background. I was taking tapes from my cousin, and my cousin had House of Pain, Shamrocks and Shenanigans. He also had Cypress Hill, Black Sunday. And so basically, Rage Against the Machine too, if you want to throw that in there.
Yeah.
And basically took those tapes and started listening to them and pretty much fell in love with it. And really after that, I started to become a disciple of hip hop as a listener. I was in bands at the time. I was in punk bands, and I love to sing. I love to write music. I also had the fortune of, I suppose, I've found it to be a good thing now, but at the beginning wasn't really that great when I was growing up, but I moved a lot. So I've lived across Canada, except for the Maritimes. But I love Halifax. Halifax is one of my favorite cities, actually. I was mentioning that on the way here. And I moved around a lot, and when I moved around, I was kind of tired of breaking up bands, and was like not really into just being a singer-songwriter guy with acoustic guitar. And so when computer technology started kind of coming up, Fruity Loops was invented, and like recording software was invented, and I was like, you mean I can make music by myself? I don't need a band? And so I was like, it was mind-blowing. So shout out computers. Just basically started to work, did what most kids do now, like DIY, like it's kind of punk rock. It was just like, I'm going to go and figure out how to crack Fruity Loops so I can make beats. that's how like kids even these days are doing it, and I love it. And the culture really hasn't changed. Like, it wasn't like I had enough money for a computer. It wasn't like I had enough money to go buy software. Like, I was literally like you're like a 12-year-old kid that's like learning how to crack software just so you can make beats. Like, what how does that happen? That's like almost the equivalent of stealing a guitar to become like Jimi Hendrix. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of crazy. So yeah, that's basically how it started. And then I started making beats. Then I got into beat makers, and then it's like the rabbit hole, like all the way down right until like praise J Dilla.
How do you feel about samples?
How do I feel about samples? I love them.
What do you think of the Kanye Wests from 3, 4, 5 albums ago and the Kanye West now?
I love Kanye West. I'm sorry, but
No,
like,
not the.
like,
I guess let me qualify that. The music, like he's
a genius. Like, absolutely a genius. I understand that samples don't. The whole industry, because I've learned the industry, has changed. So sampling. Here's the thing that really bothers me about sampling.
Yep.
Some of the artists that I would sample. First off, I collect vinyl. So I'm definitely big into sampling. Like, I go and I'll buy a bunch of records. I'm buying music that probably people care less and less about. You know, like, I'll buy 2 or 3 copies of like a Herbie Hancock record just to like have it. Like, that's the way it started out for me. And the big thing that really bothers me is some of these people that we sample are like living in their vehicles. That's what bothers me. Like, hip hop was supporting it and buying those records, but at the end of the day, it's probably going to a label. And, you know, let's not even get into how Motown treated their artists or anything like that. Like, and so that's the part that bothers me. So I wish I could reach out to a lot of them and be like, yo,
this is,
you know, like, I want to be able to, I hope the festival's big enough one day that I can bring out artists like that I know are literally like maybe sleeping in a vehicle, or like, and I hear stories about this, like, of people who can barely pay their rent, you know, and they're people that hip hop was built off of.
Pretty much.
And that bothers me. So
yeah.
So sampling as a whole, I love sampling. I like the idea of sampling. I think there's art to it. J Dilla's amazing. Madlib's amazing. Stone Throws Records is like, you know, amazing. But I'm also not using samples in my music just because of the industry now. And like the new Kanye West is like, I love it. Kids See Ghosts is probably one of my favorite records.
There was a song that I can't remember the title, but holy smokes! Although, to be honest, like Kid Cudi is, he's inspirational. There's a song he has on his last album, I can't remember the title, but it has something about pain. So it's something like, whatever you do, you can't take the pain away.
Yep.
Holy smokes. It's sad,
Yeah.
but it's also true. You know, and that's another thing I love about your stories, because it's real and you bring in the whole mental health thing into it. Because that's, especially in hip hop, we don't talk about it. You have to be tough and all that.
No, it's huge. I love everything that's going on in hip hop right now. I love everything about like emo trap music, about like the goth boy clique, about sad boy stuff. Like, finally, it's okay for men to talk about their feelings. That is like huge for me. Like, I don't talk much, or I didn't until like more recently, about some of the stuff that happened to me, even in the music industry or my past or like whatever. A lot of times, like, that hypermasculinity comes from like how you were raised. Like, even in like, so my partner and I, we have discussions about this all the time. The Makista culture, you know, like from kind of the, you know, South America, they have the idea that men are supposed to be macho still. And so, for instance, our little boy, he goes to his grandmother's, God bless her, and she'll be like, I don't like that he paints his nails.
Ow.
You know what I mean? And little things like that, where I'm like, okay, you know, his middle name is English translation, soldier. And so he stands there at 7 years old and he says, you know what? He's not hurting anybody. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like, I've showed him pictures of Kurt Cobain. I've showed him pictures of men who paint their nails. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, and to me, it's like, it's a style thing. I've always enjoyed doing it. I go with my partner. It's something I can share with her. And to me, I think that that's like beautiful, that a 7-year-old is like, Grandma, he's not hurting anybody. Like, is it really that bad? Like, and it's like, to me, the other part of it is that I'm also very, dynamic. So I also hunt. So there's guns in the house. I hunt deer. I try to provide for my family. The Métis background that I have, the indigenous background that I have, that's part of our life and our culture. And so it's really funny to think that, like, you know, this hypermasculinity of guns and violence and women, and then I paint my nails. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, I don't understand why there has to be an issue with any of that. So, like, call it the great equalizer, but I'm here to I'm here to break down stereotypes. I'm here to break down any of those things. I love that, like, I love what my son is learning, and I love it.
You know, and that's the thing. I went to a talk about hypermasculinity the other day, and it was super eye-opening. And it's the little things we don't think about, right? Mm-hmm. And it's always the little things we don't think about it. And when it hits, you're like, holy smokes, you know?
Yeah.
We, in some way, we contribute to the whole problem without even knowing, because it's how we were raised a certain way. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't express yourself a certain way. Yeah. And if you cry, holy shit, why are you crying?
Yeah,
you know?
Oh yeah. No, and now hip hop's open to it. People like Lil Peep and some of the people like, you know, shout out my boy Spag King, the leader of the Stick City Cult, which is our collective. I absolutely love everybody in the collective because we all talk about our feelings. We all talk about it. And whether or not it comes from the emo world or whatever, you know, it doesn't really matter where it comes from, as long as people are able to discuss these things. I think that it's incredible. And not only that, but yeah, we watched like some 80s movies the other day. We were like, oh yeah, we're gonna show like our little boy some 80s movies, and like they are kids movies. And I was like, you know what movie it was? Drop Dead Fred. You guys remember that movie, Drop Dead Fred?
Yeah.
Yo.
My favorite movie.
Okay. Have you watched it recently?
Yes.
Like, he slid under her skirt and stuff, and I'm like, whoa! Like, bro, you cannot do that anymore. Like, it's such a different, like, you know, and it's so funny to think that, like, even Home Alone, like, and at the end of the day, I saw that recently somebody was attacking kind of the Little Mermaid. Basically just, there was an article talking about how the Little Mermaid, you're giving up your voice for a man, and that whole conversation. And the woman who did the voice of Ariel basically said, like, I also know that it's just the culture and the time. She was like, I'm proud of this princess. At the time, I guess, if I'm not mistaken, I might be incorrect. My Disney princesses might be a little off, but the previous one to that was Sleeping Beauty.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. And so the jump from Sleeping Beauty to Ariel, who was like actually challenging and doing something. Yeah, like,
Sleeping Beauty was just there. I'm gonna be sleeping here until they come and get me.
So there really is. And then when you jump ahead to like Frozen, where there is no man, there's a snowman, I guess, if you want, like, whatever. But like, but there's no, you know, there is no prince, and so, like, you know, take it for what it is. Like, there's growth, there's development. You know, that's one of the big things that I see in all these communities that are trying to find a voice, is that oftentimes all of a sudden the future isn't the conversation, it's the past. And it's like, but I do know the past is important for where we got to, but like, we got to hear from that. So like, you know, we just have to respect it, and we have to move forward with our eyes wide open and with as much, because you know what, in 10 years from now, we're going to be like, that, you know, what we did as a culture was pretty dumb. Yeah. So yeah, I love where rap's at. I love Kid Cudi for opening up the doors to talking about feelings. I love Kanye West for that. Kanye West talks about things that people don't want to talk about. Like, and even like, I know it's going to sound terrible, like, but the Make America Great type stuff, like, he's literally trying to, and he said it, like, break down barriers to conversations. And it's like, nobody really wants to relate to Trump. I get it.
So here's the thing. My thing with that is that I don't want to say that we are there yet, but we are super close to the point where it's either A or B. We either for this, because I'm for this, I'm never gonna, there's nothing you can say, there's nothing you can do that will even make me want to sit down and talk to you about anything. So because you side, you're on the side of a different, I'm not even going to listen to you. And I grew up in a time where, I grew up in a family where we could talk about anything. And I guess, you know, we'll argue, right? We'll argue, but when we talk, I'm like, oh, shit, you know what? That guy kind of makes sense. You know?
No, I know. That's the only conversations is what creates any of that. And like, at the end of the day, I get it. Like, it's so hard, but like when I was younger, because I'm really big into spirituality, and I'm big at like, I mean, all my tattoos are all different cultures and that sort of thing. And one of the things that I was always like, when I was younger in sort of the Christian religion, it really does divide and say like, you know, you're either good or bad. And we were talking about that, and I actually mentioned it earlier today. Like I try to, with my son, break down the concepts of good and bad, because good, as soon as you say good, there's inherently a bad. And as soon as you say bad, it's inherently good. That creates a power, dynamic. And so the idea is the choices you make have results. We are not here to interpret the results. That's for maybe a higher power or for something larger. But how many times have you done something that you thought was good and it ended up being the worst decision of your life?
My wife's, I think one of our favorite quotes is, the path to hell is something.
Paved in good intentions. Absolutely. And I believe in that. So with my son, we try to discuss like, what result do you want? What is the result? You know, recently he went to the office for something that he was a bystander in something, so it wasn't that he did anything wrong, but they brought him to the office because he was part of being a bystander, which is really great. I'm glad that the school is actually doing that, because then it's making everyone accountable, even in the room. But really the conversation was, you know, you chose not to do something, which means that these are the results, you know? And so choosing not to do something can sometimes be just as bad as choosing to do something. So at the end of the day, what do you want? You know, what do you want? Do you want people to be happy, or do you want people to feel included? Okay, what are the choices we have to make to do that? You know, so if you want to feel, you know, if you want to be a man that wants to talk about his feelings in hip hop, then you have to be able to understand that you're going to make choices. It's not about good or bad. It's not about like, oh, this is good rap, or this is bad rap, or this is like if I choose to mumble on a track, oh, that's good rap, or that's bad rap. Like, there is no good or bad like that. It's this is what I want to do. I want to talk about my feelings on an album. This is how I'm going to get to it.
Preach, man.
Yeah,
that's dope. So let me pull it down a little bit. Let's talk about the haunted house in Blessed.
My guy. Yo, I think it's off my IGTV now, but I'm gonna have to put it back up there. I wish that I could see something like, you know, like aliens. I've always been that kid. Like I want to see aliens. I want to see a ghost. I want to see a spirit. I want to see, like, I want it so bad. But I'm also like very much based in fact. So at the end of the day, the ghost story. Let me explain. I was down for Nova Scotia Music Week. Yeah. They had brought me down to basically discuss the music festival and to be here to book acts and that sort of thing, and to kind of watch everybody perform. Epidemic, God bless his soul, was carrying around some microphones and stuff like that, and we went and put it into the room, and we ended up doing a song in the hotel.
Wait, pause. That song is at what, 210,000 streams now.
Yo, my God, almost 250,000 streams. And that song almost didn't happen, which is insane. So I'm so happy that, like, you know, again, choices. Like, we chose to make it happen, and this is the results of it, you know, good or bad. Because we talk about in the marketing, we'll get back to the ghost story, but, you know, I just came from the music summit, and they were talking about this type of marketing is good, or this type of marketing is bad. And, you know, it's good to have a lead up to a song, and it's good to, you know, none of that matters when you have 250,000 streams on a song that you literally just chose to do in a hotel room, like right on the spot. And you were like, it's like, so I said to them, like, what about that? And it's like, yeah, you know, like, well, that's a fluke. And it's
I like how you guys called it the hotel song.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Bless the hotel song. And so anyway, so back to the haunted house. In Truro, Nova Scotia is where this was taking place. And Truro has the John Stanfield Inn, which I had to do some research on, but apparently it was on like Ghost Hunters and all these different shows. And basically everybody that was there was like, have you been in the haunted house? Have you been in the haunted house? And then the hotel staff is all like, don't go in the haunted house. The haunted house, you can't go in. It's unsafe to go in the haunted house. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, stop. And so then we go in there, and it's beautiful. Like, it's an old, beautiful, like, mansion style 3-story building that was probably like like very difficult to build back when it was built. And like, of course, everyone's trolling you. So there's like, help me written in the dust. And there's like, I'm pretty sure someone like literally cut their own finger to spray blood all over the wall. Like, it's like, and then like we're walking through there and they were like, is this like feces or is this blood? Like, it was pretty nasty. But I'm walking through there and you can watch this entire thing on camera. I'm like, yeah, this ain't nothing. I've been in the trap house. Like, this is just like a trap house, bro. I'm like, I go hunting in houses like this. Like, I'll be like in a hunting shack in the bush, and this is just like good living. I'm like, it's even got couches in here and everything. I think at one point I'm like, there's an iPhone box in here. Why are we worried about it being haunted? Like, I'm just like, this is ridiculous. And so, anyways, of course, everyone's like, oh, did you go through? Did you go to the third floor? And blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. So we like walk around. And I'm with Epidemic and I'm with Tom from Han Solo Records. And Tom's filming it. And we just walking around. I'm like, nah, this is weird. And we get to the stairs. And all of a sudden we're like walking up the stairs. And you can hear it on the video. And I'm like, oh no. I stop and you can actually hear breathing and some sort of weird, like, not like giggling, but like definitely something that I'm like, all I say is, nope. And I turn around and I'm like, nope. So we bolt out and I'm like, I run directly into the Holiday Inn. And again, this is all on camera. So you can actually go and listen and you can hear it all. It's really, really crazy. And I like go in there and they're like, you shouldn't have went in there. You shouldn't have went in the haunted house. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, yo, I didn't believe it was haunted. And at the time, Henka from New School Rules, one of the other delegates, was like, somebody must have been in there like making noise. And I'm going to go with that just because I don't want to think that there was actually something there. But like my guy, nobody's in that house just hanging out waiting for three people to like walk up there. Like, it's that scary. It's scary enough that like you're looking at it, you're like, nah. Like, you're going with three people, but like one person at like 11 o'clock at night, like, nah, not at all. And like the breath literally sounds like it's like right in your ear. I was hanging out with Josh here at the summit, and he went and checked it out, and he's like, I'm pretty sure I heard the like breath. And I'm like, no, you can hear it. Like, it's weird because it sounds like my breath or somebody else's breath, but it's not. Like, we're all not breathing at that moment. We're just like, nope.
I remember Frederick telling me that. So, but hey, the song is great. It's doing great. And on Thursday, man, you think almost every time I talk with an artist, I tend to talk with artists that love music, and you see the love for the music in how they perform, right? And when you guys are on stage doing Blessed, and like you could tell you love music. So
yeah, I love music, but and God bless the Get Down, but like, rap shows really got to step their sound game up. I'm so sorry, but like, it's a common thing across like Canada. Like, the worst part is that like, as an industry person as well, like, how do you expect the industry to take you seriously? Like, I get it, there's not a lot of money in it or whatever, and like, I totally get it, but like, it's hard to go up there and rap and like have the sound, you know, not really on point. And so I kind of like walked off stage and I was just like, dang, like I was like, we were gonna go do this and it was gonna be all like crazy, and then just like the sound just kind of bummed me out a little bit. But at the end of the day, I love performing, man. Like, I love it. I had that new song no one's heard yet. So I was like,
awesome.
Yo, thank you very much, man. Like, I'm super pumped. Shout out Post-War, and a shout out to Euphoria as well, from the UK. So we all worked on this song together, and I don't drink. I've been sober for 2.5 years, and the song's called Perrier, and it basically is because we drink a lot of sparkling water. And like, not only that, but like, it's a big thing to talk about like jewelry in songs, so like the water and the drip and that sort of thing. So it's Perrier sparkling water, and it's kind of just a shout out to the diamonds that I wish I had in my life. But yeah, thank you very much though, man.
Yeah, no, the song was great. And I mean, just in the last couple of months since we talked, before we met, you've actually put me on to kind of the right people to talk to, and that's super helpful. I'm grateful for that.
Of course.
But do you think we need more? The summit is great, but not everyone is going to be able to go on. What do you think we could do for, well, like upcoming artists and upcoming shows like the Get Down? Because
yeah, so part of it is it's a chicken and egg situation. The scene has to come together. They have to organize. I'm also getting my labor degree right now. I'm in 5 courses. So I actually deferred an exam to be out here. Shout out University of Manitoba. And I came out, and I'll be going home to do a math exam when I get home.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's gross. Don't even want to talk about it.
Math. Oh God.
Euclidean geometry. Yeah. So the thing is I understand, and it's a labor degree, so I understand like unions and organizing and that sort of thing. People need to come together a little bit because it's power in numbers. So organization is really important. But also, yeah, we discussed it in the summit today that there's a giant gap. For hip hop artists, and even just generally for hip hop, in the sense of like, you know, if you're a guitar playing act, you can go take guitar lessons. Like, where are the turntable lessons? Where is the how to crack Fruity Loops lessons? Like, you know, that type of thing, where like the beat making stuff, or like MPC, Akai software, or like maybe even having like beat sort of seminars. Everybody's in their basement making beats. Like a ton of people. I know, that's all the people I know. I barely know people that play guitar. So in my head, I'm just like, there's a real disconnect between like all this starting out and all this infrastructure. So we're working on it, man. I mean, it is what it is. It's a slow process, and in Canada we're like 10 years behind America, so it just is what it is. But you know, I really think that Manitoba Music Nova Scotia, and all of these MIAs understand that. It's just like, yeah, it's a chicken and egg thing. Everybody has to get together. Everybody has to like find common ground. Back to what we were talking about, conversations, having the conversations, and just seeing what the challenges, successes are, and really just bringing it all together, and making sure that there are ambassadors like myself that, that go out to these things and make sure that I'm trying to tie the whole community together, because we are in pockets and we're mighty, but together we can be a little bit stronger. So, things like the Get Down, again, I absolutely love being there. But yeah, just making sure that stuff like the Get Down continues to happen, and then that they go to Music Nova Scotia stuff. Like, the doors are open. Like, I'm pretty sure it's a public place, right? Like, so I mean, people can go in there. You know, how many of those artists, it's again, like, I know the artists are like, I don't feel like if I go in there, they're going to listen to me. Yeah, well, enough of you go in there, they're going to listen to you. Like, it's just like anything, right? Like, you get 20, 30 people to walk in there and say, hey, we are underserved and we don't have anything, but we need something. They're going to do something about it.
And so, I mean, you do the music, you actually, I didn't even know the whole labor thing now. So you have that, you have your kid, your partner, you have a lot of things going on. How do you make it all work?
Barely. So the biggest thing for me was my health. I also lost 80 pounds. Yeah, so I lost 80 pounds, and I did that through meeting an incredible person named Forrest Black from Atlantic Records. I was in a place after 10 years of being in hip hop and really pushing really hard and doing kind of everything that industry associations were telling me to do, and every other manager that I met. And I just got to a point where I was like, I think that there's no support because of me, because I'm a shitty artist. And I got to a point where I was like drinking every day. I was just eating whatever, and was treating myself really badly. So I went through a really dark phase, and I had quit doing drugs about 15 years ago, like hard drugs and stuff. And then the alcohol kind of crept up on me a little bit. I don't think that I was really an alcoholic, but I mean, I was probably an alcoholic for sure. But that being said, like, it's one of those things where, you know, if you're running a studio and then you have 4 beers a night, you're like, am I really an alcoholic? Well, I drank 4 beers a night for the past like 20 nights. You know what I mean? Maybe I am an alcoholic, you know? So when I quit that and started to work on like just exercising, it was one of the things, a turning point for me. And I lost 80 pounds. I learned how to do that. I went from 255 pounds down to 160 or something like that. And now I'm like in the middle of bulking. I just ate like a week's worth of shit food and was at the terrible gym doing it. But I'm actually like gained 2 inches on my arms and like getting back to it. I was pretty thin there for a little bit, but yeah, I've learned how to now control it completely. I 100% know how to like bring my weight up, bring my weight down. I've actually helped other people lose weight. I helped a girl back in Winnipeg. She lost 40 pounds through through working with her, and basically. I didn't realize that a lot of people talk about, like, remember when the secret was a big thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody was like, manifest destiny. I'm gonna manifest a car. I'm gonna manifest a house. I'm gonna manifest everything. Well, the thing that people like kind of stopped talking about was like, okay, you understand that you manifest your reality.
Yeah.
None of this really exists. In fact, one of the things that always like was a big thing for me is, you know, the thing inside you that says, you know, I feel this table. I'm having a conversation. I like coffee. I like water. The I part, the ghost in the machine, there's no physical way to take that out. It's not physical. So how can you think that anything around you is real if the thing determining it to be real doesn't even exist? So one of the things that I realized is that you do create your reality. But if this is a projection, I'm the projector. So how can I actually create a projection that's clear, that makes sense, or that even really like has a definition if the projector's dusty, old? Have you ever tried watching an old movie through like a terrible projector? You can barely see what's going on.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh, snap. Like, I should probably eat some more vegetables. And I'm not gonna lie, but like vegetables and working out changed my life. As soon as that happened, I created the festival. I've met the woman. You know what's crazy? I didn't meet the woman of my dreams. I met the woman of my dreams, literally, and she watched me go through this. And like my partner is like very, very pretty, and she's like she's one of those women that like you're like, why are you with me? Like what God did I like please so much that she like literally came in and was like, you're the one. You know what I mean? And so not only just is she like beautiful, but she's me. It's like literally the person. Check this out. I had a picture of a woman on my phone when I met her in my phone, and I was like, yo, this is a really good looking girl. Like, just like, you know, men sometimes save pictures of women or whatever. It happens. It's not a big deal. We just like, you know, we have pictures. It wasn't like, it was like a model from the internet, whatever. It wasn't like I was taking somebody's picture from Instagram or something like that. Let me just clarify that. So it was a model that I was like, oh, this girl's really, really pretty.
Yeah.
And literally like fast forward 6 months or something like that later. And I like had this picture and I was flipping through my old camera roll and I was with her and I was like, what? I'm like, yo, and I showed her and she was like, that's funny. And I'm like, and then it all happened. Then I changed. My body changed. The way I felt about myself changed. I created a hip hop festival. I now have a song that's got 250,000 views. I've never had that type of success before. I changed my music. I killed the rap name. I killed the part of me that basically I thought was like, you know, the driving force in my like creativity. Like, I don't even want to have a rap name anymore. I don't even really like rap in the sense. Like, I love, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love the music.
Yeah.
But I kind of hate all the things that like made me think that I had to be in this little box. I hate being in boxes now. I recognize that I'm like, oh, I hate boxes. But what's even funnier is that like, you don't recognize it until like later on. Hip hop became my identity. And I talked to a friend of mine back home, Helen Back. I'm up for an Indigenous Music Award right now.
Sweet.
For Producer and Engineer of the Year for working on his record. And we had a conversation about it. He's the guy who coined the term native hip hop. And he's like, man, that was my identity. And that was something that we did because we needed a voice. And he's like, guess what? I am never winning any other award other than Indigenous Artist of the Year award. I won't be put in the same category as Drake. I won't be put in the same category as like just the rap awards. You know, same thing's happening with female MCs. Like, I don't like saying that term anymore because I'm like, back when I was like younger, I was like, yo, female MCs, what up? You know, and now I'm like, just a rapper. Not going to put that. I would hate to find out that there's just like a, you know, female rap category and that's it. You know what I mean? And you can't break out of that.
Yeah.
So I'm creating an identity sometimes creates a box. So it's tough.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm going to end it with this though. What advice would you give? No. Not that.
Break out of the box, buddy. Break out of your box.
How do you use social media?
How do I use social media? I use social media to develop relationships. I use social media to express my feelings. I use social media. I was kind of bummed out because some stuff sort of happened back home. And actually, like, I don't have my phone with me, but I would actually pull it out right now to talk about some of the stuff on it. But I basically said, like, you know, something happened back home, and it triggered me a little bit for feeling kind of blue. Like, I was feeling pretty bad today, just because a friend of mine is going through a relapse, and it means a lot to me just because of the fact that, like, I know what dealing with drugs is like, and so it made me, like, really choke up today. I might choke up right now, but and I just wrote, like, I don't feel good today, and I was like, can y'all just, like, tell me something? Just tell me something good. Tell me why you are happy I'm in your life. And I've got an inbox full of things that I'm going to go look at later. I'm going to respond to every single one.
You shared some already, though. So,
yeah.
You know, I follow a few people, and I noticed that how a person uses their stories says a lot about them, right? And the way your stories, I mean, sure, you might talk about songs or whatever, but your stories, I think, I might be wrong, but I think all you do is just to give somebody a reason to smile or take one more breath. That's how I feel when I see your stories.
Absolutely, man. I know that the vein of music that I make are a lot of people who are sad, potentially self-harming, potentially using drugs to self-medicate. There are people that don't feel like they have a voice. There are people that feel like they don't fit in. I feel like I don't fit in, man. I don't fit in because, you know, I'm a white rapper. I present as white to people. That's it. That's all it is. I don't fit in rap sometimes. I don't fit in because I'm not as masculine or as, like, you know, I've been through, like, some street stuff, but I'm not going to sit. I don't fit in because my bars aren't hard enough. Or, like, you know, and I'm just like, I know people feel that way. And what's crazy is that, like, all I want to do is connect with people and tell them that, like, everyone feels like that. Every single person feels like that every single day. And so hopefully on social media, if you do follow me at Music by Shea, SHEA, if you do follow me on there, like, just talk to me. Just, like, I know it sounds crazy, but, like, I'm part of a group called the Stick City Cult, like I said. And it's like, we are a bit of a cult. We are all the freaks, the people who don't feel like they have a place. Follow us and just, like, talk to us about it because we understand.
Man, thanks for coming in.
Man, thank you so much for this.
I hope you don't miss your flight.
No, I'm not going to miss my flight, I don't think. There might be some snow, but we'll figure it out.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
This is the Blackout Podcast. Thanks for listening.